friends. That's enough wanking away for the moment. First off, I'm doing a little experiment here. I'm going to see if I'm live right now at my Facebook page. I'm also going to see if I'm live on my YouTube page. And so doing a little experimentation here, and just want to make sure that we're getting everything, it's coming across, and all the good bits and pieces. Okay, so by the way, I'm looking at YouTube right now, and I'm not taking the questions off of YouTube. I'm sorry. I can only have so many computers and iPads and stuff in front of me at the same time. So I'm going to be fielding questions. So doing a little experimentation here. There we go. So good. I'm hearing myself. That's good. Yay. I see folks on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. That's awesome. However, head over to my Facebook page if you want to have your questions answered, because I can't look at both at the same time. It just drives me mad. Facebook.com/YourGuitarSage. Okay? That's where I'll be looking at the questions. That's if it's showing up there, which I'm seeing it is. So it is. So I'm going to be fielding questions there today. And basically, this is just an impromptu blues lesson here, because I want to test this and because I love you guys and I haven't talked to you in a few days. So that too. There's a lot of love for you. Okay? And so basically what I wanted to go over in this is I wanted to talk to you about simplifying the blues, okay? You can make blues very simple, you can make it complex, it's all fun. And so we're going to be talking about taking that blues scale that you've known for years, or maybe you just learned it and you're like, man, Eric, I know it and I can play it a bunch, I can play fast or whatever, but for whatever reason it just doesn't sound good when I play it. That's what we're going to fix today. And it's not hard, it's actually super easy. Okay, once I show it to you, you're going to be like, jeez, I can't believe that it was that easy and that I could have done it, okay, all along. And that's how guitar really is. It's easy if you learn it, the bits and pieces, okay. With all that being said, folks, on Sunday, I want to announce it really quickly. I'll be doing a live broadcast. I'll be giving away over $1,000 of free goodies, and I'll be doing a broadcast on bar chords. I'm going to be adding 96 new chords to your chord vocabulary and teaching you. I don't care if you think your hands are too small. I'm going to be teaching you, for those folks with the small hands, I'm going to be teaching you how to play bar chords. And with this one bar chord, it's going to open up, at least for this one lesson, 96 new chords. In reality, it's going to open up about 300 or 400 other chords, but for that one lesson, you'll be learning 96 new chords, and you won't have to memorize them. You'll just know them. I know, sounds too good to be true, but it ain't. It's totally true. Okay, so here we go. I'll probably be fielding some questions in regards to what I'm seeing on the screen here as well. But let's go into some basics here about simplifying the blues. Okay, so it goes like this. The blues. Let's see if this works here. Hold on here. Okay, so it goes like this. The blues, okay, we've got 3 chords typically that play in the blues scale. We've got a 1, or in the blues, 12-bar blues progression. We've got 3 chords. And you can very easily sound like you know what you're talking about by playing that bass note in the melody whenever that chord changes, okay? Now you don't want to just hit that one note, but you want to introduce that note when the chord changes, okay? And it's a very simple process. You can do this with any note in the chord, but again, we want to simplify today. We got 3 chords. If you just emphasize these 3 notes, it's going to sound really good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a slower version of the 12-bar blues here. It's not going to be as cool as that track that I made. Yeah, sure, I'm being a little braggadocious. I think my track sounds better than this one that I got from somebody else. But anyhow, that's another matter. Lots of tracks. I'm putting up a lot of these tracks, producing a lot of these tracks, putting them up in my system, in the Unstoppable Guitar System. So FYI, if you want more, you can check me out there. Also on SoundCloud, so if you want to check me out there as well. Okay, so again, so with a blues progression, 12-bar blues progression, we have an A7, a D7, and an E7. Okay, so we got this sound. We got this. That's our 1 chord. Here's our 4 chord. Back to our 1 chord. Our 5, 4, our 1. Okay, now you don't have to be concerned with the 1, the 4, and the 5. You could name them A, D, and E as well. That's okay, because those are the notes that we're going to be playing. The reason I like to use numbers is if you wanted to do this in another key, it would work just as well. And you're not going to be looking for the A, D, and E if you're playing in the key of C. Okay? So, suffice to say that when an A chord is being played, if you play an A over the top of it, it's going to sound good. When the D chord's playing, if you play some sort of a D note, it's going to sound good. When the E chord's playing, if you play an E note, it'll sound good. Again, we're simplifying the blues, okay? We can get more complex with this. We can play all sorts of notes. But right now, what we want to do is we want to simplify it. Because we want to take that scale that you know, that basic pentatonic or basic blues scale, and we want to kick it in the A, okay? When I say A, I mean ass, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to play a slow blues chord progression, and I'm going to, as the chord changes, I'm going to say what the chord is, and I'll say 1 or 4, 5, okay? In this case here, the 1 is A, the 4 is D, and the 5 is E, if you wanted to just go on those, okay? If you're wondering why we call it the number of it, basically it's the number of the scale, the numbered note of the scale. Can't go into all that detail right now, okay? I do that in my course, but right now we just got to keep it simple, okay? So I'm gonna play a very slow version of this in the key of A, and let's see. Here we go. And I'll be putting my hand up, and then I'll be playing that particular note, okay? So if you see 1, it'll be an A. If I say 4, it'll be a D, and 5, it'll be an E. Coincidentally, not really, the actual chord, A, E, and D, will be playing at the same time. I'm doing this purposely, but you're going to see that, boy, this sounds good, okay? And it's not that I'm just hanging on that note the whole time. I mean, I will this one time through to make it very simple, but then you'll see it's basically like as the chord is introduced, as it changes from one chord to the next, as that new chord comes in, I play that note right on the downbeat, and it sounds like, hey, we're communicating, we're on the same page. But then to make it interesting, I'll go to some other places, but I'll really emphasize that note, okay? So let's try this. So watch this. Watch this. Here we go. Watch and learn. Key of A, and I'm using the A blues chord, or A blues progression. I'm sorry, A blues scale. Sorry, my jam isn't coming up here and kind of making me mad. There we go. Oh, come on. Come on, SoundCloud. What's up with that? That's not a very good recommendation here. Alright, well, I might have to use this other track here. And if that's the case, that's okay. I'd like to do it on a slower track, but... Alright, here we go. Here we go, this one. Maybe? No luck. Okay, there we go. This is the fun of live. It's a real pain in the A. Okay, so here we go. Alright, I'm just going to do it on this fast one I was just working with. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, it does. So here we go. So here's the 5 chord, 4 chord, 1. So here's the 1. Here's the 4. Well, I have this one chord here, which is our A7, and I was playing, which is an A, and I went to that guy. I'm just adding some spice. If I just said... you'd get bored. So I'm going to add some other notes in there. So I said... and then we went to the 4. Just throwing in some taste there, some spice, if you will. And then when I went up to the 5, I bent up to it. Now, how do I know that that's the 1, 4, 5? Well, 1, because I've done this before, but 2, here's the 1. Here, if we're playing the A major scale, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And here's our 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get in closer. So here's our 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then here's our 5. So those appear all over the neck very easily. So if I'm playing this A chord, 4 chord, see, it's just easy enough, just easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm just following those 3 notes. Now, you could do this literally for any key, any tempo, obviously. If you just know where the 1, 4, 5 is at, and guess what? It's the same place every single time. I mean, yes, it moves with the key, but like we're in A right now. If I was doing this in G, okay, then everything's going to move down. So instead of 1, 4, 5, or 1, 4, 5 in A, then it would move down a whole step in G. 1, 4, 5. You know? You should know that. If you don't, that's okay. You need some essentials, some bare essentials. YourGuitarSage.com/30. That's my free course that I provide for everybody in the world for learning this stuff, learning guitar, okay? So let's do this. Let's go ahead and field some questions, okay? And I might even pop over, depending on what the kids are saying over at Facebook, I might pop over to YouTube as well, okay? Okay, Charles is saying, nice job there. Thank you, Charles. Major differences between U.S. Strat and Mexican-made Strat, please. Amaret, I won't go over that today because right now we're talking about how to do this. But in a nutshell, U.S. Strats, this is a U.S. Strat, this is an older Strat, but U.S. Strats are made with typically more quality woods and those sorts of things. More quality woods, there's more time and energy put into them. I've had both American and Mexican. I probably have had Japanese as well, but they all play really well, and you can get a bad American and a great Mexican, so there's that too to consider, okay? So don't get too hung up on that. Play it, and if you like it, then it's the guitar for you. That's my motto when it comes to guitars. I don't care about the name. I mean, obviously I've got name brand guitars, so I also have guitars that don't have brand names, okay? Okay, so Marcus is saying, mixing awesome blues scales with chords. I get solo and scale stuff fine and can play it, but then struggle to link it back to the chords, especially ESP when changing keys, or playing up with others. Okay, Marcus, so that's exactly what we're talking about here. And really, it's this simple. When the chord changes, if you remember one thing from this broadcast, when the chord changes, play the letter name of that chord in your solo. And then you can play other notes as well, but it's kind of like you're having to keep up with the music. It's exactly what you're doing. You're keeping up with the music. It's kind of like if we're having a conversation. If the only thing you're thinking about is the next thing you're going to say and you're not listening to me, then it's going to appear as if you're not listening to me. Because you're not listening to me, right? Okay, it's the same thing with music. If we're just noodling a bunch of, we're just playing a scale, well, why do we even have the music going? Just play your scale, right? But when the music's going, it's building a background for us, and if we want to sound intelligent, we're going to move along with that music. So when the chord changes, we're going to play something differently, from our hearts. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Kathy, hi from North Carolina. Hi, Kathy. Hi from South Africa. It's actually midnight here. Ah, sweet. Okay, so for whatever reason, when I'm doing these broadcasts, sometimes questions don't show up in my, so that's all I'm seeing here on Facebook. So I'm going to pop over to YouTube, and I'm just going to see if there's any questions, okay? Just for fun. Okay, from the Netherlands, sweet, ready to jam out, Bill, that's very good, let's go. Greetings from East Tennessee, thank you, sir, attitude. Man, I got some shills, thank you, sir. Greetings from Corpus Christi, Texas, skills. Okay, guys, Gary, I'm almost certain I've watched all his videos. Yay, thank you. Yes, YouTube, loud and clear in Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Facebook sucks, FYI. In this case, we're having issues with those questions, unless no one's writing any questions. And in that case, if they are, then, then Facebook does suck, because I can't get to the questions. Okay, so I'm just going to assume, I tell you what, I'm going to look one other place, and then if, okay, I just got another question here, so I think it's working. So someone said, can you explain how the capo chart works? Loretta, I'd like to keep it to what we're talking about right here, but I'll just graze over it really quickly. So I created a capo chart, my friends. If you don't know what this is, basically it's to tell you what key you're in when you're changing keys with a capo. So, and it's very, very simple. What I want you to think, well, first you have to know what your tonal center is, what key you're in. So if I'm playing a song and I'm in the key of G, right, and I've got a G and a D and a C, A minor, E minor, all those chords that make up a G major chord progression, then I'm in the key of G. We have to know the tonal center. But when I put my capo on, what I'm essentially doing is tuning my guitar up, or moving the nut up, okay? Here I'm just moving it up to the first fret. So that means we add one. So G goes to G sharp. Okay, so you do have to know the musical alphabet, the chromatic musical alphabet. A through G, every note has a sharp except for B and E. I cover this in my free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com. It's in the free course at YourGuitarSage.com/30. The link is probably here, or just go straight to that page, Your Guitar Sage, and you'll see it. But essentially, you're adding. Okay, so if you put the capo up 1, now you're G sharp. If you're putting it up 2, now you're A sharp, B, if we're playing that form. Now if we're playing in the key of C, let's try that. If we're playing in the key of C, we got chords like C, D, E minor, F, G, A minor, okay? But that's our tonal center, C. If I capo at the first fret, then what happens is now I'm playing in C sharp, okay? Hopefully that helps you and you can understand that. Cool? All right. Okay. Kathy's saying, did you say earlier that you were doing a live bar chord lesson? I am. FYI, my friends, YourGuitarSage.com/live. Sign up there. Now, these impromptu broadcasts like this, if you're not following me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those places, then you probably won't be notified about these. That's why I'll typically, we're testing out some equipment, and I wanted to give you something else as well. So learning to play, to simplify the blues. So if you're hooked up with me in those places, you'll find out about those. When I'm doing my big broadcasts like this Sunday, June 5th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I'll be giving away over $1,000 of free goodies, including a guitar and a jam stick and subscriptions to my course and all sorts of great stuff. Adding some new stuff to the giveaway pile as well this week. But you can find all that information at YourGuitarSage.com/live. If you sign up there, you'll get notifications from me whenever I'm going to go live, typically ahead of time, and then you'll be able to download the materials and all that good stuff, okay? Alrighty. Okay, Marcus is saying, really useful stuff, Eric, but my point was also, say you don't have a backing track and you start off with a blues pentatonic scale. I struggle with interspersing the scale with cool chords to make it sound richer and more varied. Okay, Marcus, well, so yeah, you could do something, well, first of all, you'd have to know the 12-bar blues progression or whatever chord progression you're playing. So you're saying interdispersing chord scales with cool chords, right? So you're saying playing chords at the same time. So that takes a different discipline. First, you've got to know the chord progression so well, and then you need to be able to noodle over the top. So you're putting on two hats at the same time. You're being both guitar players. So if I wanted to do something, in blues, it's say like an E. That's a comfortable key to do what you're talking about here. Or I could do it, and I could go. So we could do something like that, you know? So you get the idea, okay? What we're doing there is we got to know where the chord's at, and then we play it. Noodle time, chord time, noodle, chord, you know, that sort of thing. So you can do that, but you have to know the chord progression, and you've got to start off really simple. Just start off with the chord, you know, play a little something, but always make the chord the priority. And then over time you're going to start getting more acclimated to it, but you're doing two different things at once. So it's like doing any two things at once. If you're not very good at soloing or not very good at chording, then putting both of them together is not going to be very simple. If you're good at both, then putting them together would be the next essential step. Kind of like riding a unicycle and juggling at the same time. You may be able to do both separately, but putting them together you may be a little crazy. You got to go simple at first. All right. I wonder if there's another way that I can read these questions. Oh, but all that to say, someone asked me about the bar chords. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I'm going to be doing bar chords seminar, okay, webinar, webcast. Okay, which scale, so this is off of YouTube now, which scale is better to learn solo after the pentatonic? I would say the blues scale. The blues scale is really the pentatonic plus one note. So, if you don't have that scale, go to YourGuitarSage.com and get the free ebook there, the pentatonic and the blues scale in there, and I think the major scale as well. So, so know the pentatonic scale, the major scale, and the blues scale. Those are the three scales that I could not live without, you know? How do you know which chord should follow some other than you play? Like what chord should follow a G or something like that? I cover that, Pedro, in my course. Anybody who's listening right now, if you don't want to pay for anything, I've got tons of free stuff here on YouTube. But the free course is YourGuitarSage.com/30. So you kind of have to know a little behind the scenes stuff. It's not just knowing to know what chord it is, but essentially every chord progression, every diatonic chord progression, those are chord progressions built off of the major scale, which is like 99.9% of all music. Even minor sounding music is based off of the major scale. You'd have to know the major scale and a bit about it for that to make sense. Otherwise, you won't believe me. But it is, and all jazz modes are based off of the major scale. I won't go into the reasons why, but just trust me there. So, but in the key of G, you have G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp, diminished G. And so I have those memorized. It goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished in every single key. You can change those, but those are the ones that naturally occur and that sound best to the ear. So you can change that, just like I could be wearing a chartreuse shirt or a chartreuse tie right now, and that would be really weird, but it's not to say I couldn't put it on, right? So you could play all sorts of scales and chords that aren't, that aren't diatonic or within the scale, but it'll probably sound like it. Will Lee, yeah, it's a Blues Junior. It's got about like 15 mods done to it, but to be quite honest with you, I've played through stock Blues Juniors, and they sound fantastic, or at least the one that I used to practice with my old band, I did that. So, pretty cool. Blues Junior, awesome, you know. How do you start making your own music? Shai is asking, make your own music. Pick up the guitar and start noodling. Simple melodies turn into more melodies. Think of yourself as a baby. When you're playing the guitar, think of yourself as a baby. It's hard to imagine ourselves like that because our egos get carried away with us and we can do other stuff like play video games or do a flip or something like that, and then we get on the guitar and we're completely humbled. When you just start off on the guitar, you're an infant, okay? You're a booby-sucking infant, literally. You're just a baby. So, and the only way to get good is to keep practicing. So practicing little melodies, playing, experimenting, okay? You don't need a music teacher, you don't need music theory to write music, you just need to pick up the guitar and start noodling, okay? You can do this with any instrument, but that's how you start making your own music. Isn't the minor scale kind of like the mode of the major scale? Kyle's asking. It is. It's the 6th scale step. If you play the major scale from 6 to 6, it's the minor scale. How do you start making your own music and chord progressions? All right, just answered that one. I'm going to pop back over to Facebook here because I'm seeing some other stuff come through. Do your videos give enough audio feedback for a blind guy to follow along, trying to break into soloing? Greg, here, I tell you what. Join my course, and before 30 days, if you don't like it, email support@YourGuitarSage.com. I'll give you all your money back. So, yes, I think there's plenty of audio feedback in there to help, definitely. And if you're blind, obviously, you're going to be more attuned to what I'm saying than someone who has sight. So I think that you're going to be in good shape. But if you're not, just get in there for a month. Let me know, and I'll refund you if you don't like it. Okay, I have no problems with that. Okay, really useful, Eric. But my point. Okay, so all right, so I'm caught up there. Let's bump back over here to YouTube. Stefan Hotland is saying how to get improved quickly in playing. Practice the shit out of your guitar. That's what to do. You want to get good? Practice a ton of time. Don't play video games. Don't watch stupid TV. Don't hang out with stupid people. Stop watching porn. Sleep less. Play your guitar, okay? Like, seriously, like, dig into your guitar. The more time you spend, the better you get. It's just that simple. Okay, hello, when doing slides, Jermaine is saying, what is the correct way to not hurt your fingers? Jermaine, when you're just sliding, it's going to hurt your fingers a little bit because this is, serrated. It's got that little bit of sound to it because there's windings around it. So when you slide at first, it's just going to hurt. That's just what it's going to do. Be lighter about your playing. That will help some, Okay, I'm kind of going back here to some of these questions. Hey, London, I thought you guys only played Beatles stuff. Just kidding. Hey, London. Hey, man, from London, how to start soloing once you know pentatonic scales, right? Okay. Okay. I want to know how and what to play when someone is playing some chord progressions. So Pedro's saying. So first off, you have a scale and you got the chords. So you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. That's 7 notes, and do is the 8th note, right? Meaning oct or octave. So we can take that guy out. We really only have 7 notes that we use in a scale for the most part. If we're playing the pentatonic scale, we only have 5. But with all that being said, the same chords that make up a G major chord progression make up the scale G major. Okay, I cover this in my free course, YourGuitarSage.com/30. You got to know the basics of theory, and then some of these things will start making sense. If you don't know the basics of theory and you want to skip over that, then I can't help you. It's just, you got to know some things, The only way to know some things is to know some things. So Stefan is saying, I'd love to learn how to improvise and freestyle. I cover that in the Unstoppable Guitar System. Again, go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. There'll be something that'll point you to the Unstoppable Guitar System, but I teach all about improvisation like I'm doing here. All about it. There's call and response, there's jam tracks, there's the whole 9 yards, okay? Dave's saying, flippin' awesome. Thank you. Okay, tips for getting started. Tips for getting started, Maya. Watch my first 30 lessons. Number one tip I can give you, watch those lessons. I specifically made those for somebody living in any country that they can go in, they can learn about buying a guitar, they can learn about fretting, they can learn about strumming, about picking, about music theory, about just all sorts of stuff, okay? So really, that's where you want to start. Tips for getting started, go there and then practice as much as you can. Number two, that's the 2 tips I can tell you, okay? Please stop by YouTube. For some reason I can't. Okay. You've got the same guitar. Sweet. Okay. Facebook sucks. Yes. Okay. All right. I think I'm all caught up there. Let's see. Okay. Hoff is saying. Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right. Any good dexterity exercise that focus on the ring and pinky? Jeremy, yes. My exercise 2 that's in the free program, YourGuitarSage.com/30. And it goes like this. You just do 3 and 4 like this. Basically, the only thing I'm doing is using fingers 3 and 4. Take your time with it, okay? That's what to do. If you stop watching porn, what's the point of it all? Kyle is saying, so you can get better at the guitar, all right? Is there a way to blend metal and blues in either progressions or soloing? Here's the funny thing about blues. Blues has its own sound, and so like any genre of music has a set of variables that you can study if you want to make it sound that way. Obviously, back in the day when the Renaissance period was, they weren't like, well, if you follow this rule, you'll sound Renaissance, or if you do this, you'll sound bluesy. It didn't work like that. There's just blues, and it sounds that way. But you can analyze it. That's where teachers come in handy. And they say, well, okay, so you want to start sounding bluesy. Here's some notes you can add. So blues and metal, yeah, you can. I tell you, a great guy who does it is Yngwie Malmsteen. Yngwie, Y-N-G-W-I-E. If you don't know how to spell his name, which it's hard, who would know how to spell that? Y-N-G-W-I-E. Type in that, or Y-N-G-W-I-E, blues. That guy can shred the blues, and he's a metal player, but he's fantastic. So yeah, you can do that. Chord progressions, I mean, sure, I could take a blues chord progression and put a bunch of distortion on it, but to be quite honest with you, when you're soloing, even the most heavy metal of guitar solos typically dabble a lot in the blues scale, okay? So, I mean, all the time. Every solo I grew up playing that was rock or heavy metal, which I grew up with that music and I love it, is that they always use the blues scale. Like always. All right. How should I go about learning music theory? Should I just practice a song or should I practice scales and the like? Hoff, practice songs as much as possible. Watch those first 30 videos. Learn scales. Do all. But I would really emphasize to anybody listening right now to really, I mean, obviously, lessons are helpful because they teach you the behind the scenes as to why things happen. You're just seeing certain things right now, but you're not seeing that there's a spotlight here and there's a spotlight here, that there's lights behind me, okay, that shine up on this wall so that you get a nice experience, that I have a 4K camera and a microphone right here and a mic on this. You don't know these things probably, but this is all stuff that you study if you want to have a nice presentation. Same thing with music. If you don't study those things, you won't know it. I could just cut the camera on like my early videos back in 2005, 2006, but you'll see what that looks like. That would be like a musician not knowing music theory and not knowing the ins and outs of music. It's a little, you don't know quite as much, okay? With all that being said, knowing songs is very important because you can learn theory through just learning songs. You may not know the labels and the bits and pieces that people call things, but you'll know it in a real world way. It would be like if you didn't go to gardening school and you didn't know how to garden, but you sat there and watched your ancestors planting stuff your whole life, and oh, this died if that happened and this the other thing. You would know how to do the same thing, but you may not have gone to school for it. Make sense? Cool. How to get better at singing and better at playing clean. Hoff, watch my video here on YouTube, how to sing and play guitar at the same time. Just type in YourGuitarSage, how to play and sing. It's also in my course, okay? How to make a Strat sound thicker. Okay, so this is a... Number one, I think the magic spot on a Strat is the 4th position. Now this is a 65 Strat, so it has the old school 3-way switch. But I can go in between 4 and 5, and I can get that, or in between 2 and 3, and get that 4th position sound. It's just they didn't make the guitar to do that. But that's, to me, is the magic sound on the Strat. I just love that sound. I use them all, but I use that position 99% of the time. And so a nice blues screamer, tube screamer, like a Maxon, like here, let me show you. This guy right here. This guy right here, this green guy, is a Maxon tube screamer. Okay, so here it is off. Here it is with it on. Okay, now if I want to beef it up some more, I could put this guy on, and I'll do that by pressing this button here. If I really want to get crazy, I could put both of them on at the same time. So you get the idea there. There's a lot that we can do with pedals and with amplifiers and that sort of thing. Cool? So that's how to make it a little bit thicker sounding. Get a tube screamer. They were made for Strats. Okay. Alright, love your videos. Thanks, Hoff. Making a Strat sound thicker. Good question. Which pedal or pedals? Yep. Okay, so how I learned a few licks, the pentatonic blues scale, but don't sound good together. What to do? Pentatonic blues scale, but they don't sound good together. Well, the pentatonic, the blues scale is the pentatonic with the flatted 5th added, as I cover in that free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com. Okay, so they're the same, essentially the same scale. So I'm not too sure what you mean by they don't sound good together. They're the same scale essentially. If you can give me more detail, I could probably help out a little bit better. How can I improve my rhythm techniques, my playing contemporary worship music on my church stage? Andy, great question. I would say practice your chord progressions like you're doing. Practice them to a metronome. Okay, put that metronome on, get attenuated to using a metronome. I have a whole section in my Unstoppable Guitar System course that teaches you how to work with a metronome. So from hey, I just got a metronome, I want to learn how to do it, all the way up to stellar stuff, making it very difficult. So all sorts of really good stuff. But use a metronome. Also, play everything nice and slow, super slow, so that you can analyze what you're doing. The way to speed and clarity, accuracy, is to play slow and to be very attentive. And then what happens is repetition will allow you to play that faster. If you try to play it fast or try to play it clean without doing the repetition, it just doesn't work. I've never seen it work. All right, Jeremy, thanks for all the help. You're so welcome, bud. Hey man, what Telecaster do you recommend? Cheers. Telecasters are fairly the same, compared to some other guitars, as far as like pickup configuration, stuff like that, they're fairly the same. But my favorite is, if I'm not talking like vintage, because I have a 67, I think it is, and so I love that one. But if I just had my choice like off the shelf, I would get a Nashville Deluxe, or just a Nashville. I think the Deluxe has the B bender, so don't have to worry about that unless you're doing like chicken picking type stuff. Otherwise, a Nashville telly is it's got the configuration of a Strat, but it still sounds like a telly also. So that's the one I think is really cool. I check that out. How's the Spark? Just a little boost. Yeah. So let's talk about it. This Spark is this guy right here, and I traded that to some guy. I don't know, for some pedal I didn't want anymore, and he asked for it. And that Spark is really cool. So here it is. So this is just straight clean right here, okay? Right? And here it is with just a little bit of preamp, okay, from the gig rig. Whoops, hold on. Switch to pickups. Right? And here's the Spark. So it's got a little bit of a bite to it. Fuzz on it, right? As opposed to a little bit cleaner and a little bit cleaner yet. So I like it. A little bit louder now, like Will Ferrell. All right, so there you go. Yeah, Spark is cool. What tube amp do I recommend for under $500? Blues Junior. It is the shiz. It's got a 12-inch speaker. It's got a preamp, or it's got a pre and post, so it's got a master volume, it's got reverb, decent reverb, and an EQ, and the tube sound is just great on it, especially when you've got a pedal board like this running through it. This thing can sound like $1 million. I mean, it can sound, if I had my Les Paul here, I can get an Eddie Van Halen sound from it, from the whole setup, obviously. But yeah, that's what I'd go with. All right, hello, Kalachi. Is that how you say your name? Kalachi. What's up, Kalachi? Yes. Good to see you here, bud. My friend. Okay. Thank you for the help and advice. Have a blessed day. You're welcome, Andy. Thank you, Sage. Eric, been a fan for years. Keep it up. Thank you, Ben. All right. I'm going to look over on Facebook here and see if there's any questions as well. Okay. I should have gone to this earlier. Okay. So, Kathy's saying, YourGuitarSage.com material, the same material that is in your Udemy course? I think that's a question. So here's the deal. So I've got a lot of free stuff at YourGuitarSage.com. Blogs and downloads and a ton of stuff for free, as well as YourGuitarSage.com/30. Anybody who can hear my voice right now, if you're going to get one thing from me, go to YourGuitarSage.com/30. If you don't want to go into the course, the big course, okay? That has what you need to get rolling, okay? However, I have a course on Udemy.com. I've got several courses. I think I've got a free course there, and then I have a couple paid courses. But the material is different than was on Unstoppable Guitar System, or not different, but there's a lot more on Unstoppable Guitar System. I had an hour of new material every single month, as well as jam tracks, and I check mail there every day. I do live webcasts like this, but with a small group. I did that Monday night. I did that once a month. We're probably going to bump up to twice a month here soon. So a lot more stuff in the Unstoppable Guitar System. Check it out. If you don't like it, I'll refund your money. Okay. All right. Hey, Eric, many thanks for the courses you sent me through the email. Still struggling, but hanging in there. Doing what you said. Continue to practice every day. Nice. I found a long time ago that if you want to jam with someone and play along, if you sit down, put the radio on, and play along with the music. If you know your scales, you can find the bass note in the song and play along. Excellent. Yes, Andrew, I used to do this and still do it. And mix it up a little. Try to keep the same thing as the song. It's great for ear... Oh, hold on. Where did it go? What the? It just went away, man. The message just went away on me. Are you joking? Not cool, brah. Not cool, Facebook. All right, so, yeah, so what my buddy was saying there is, you know, basically, if you put the radio on, you can improvise to it. So you got to know some basic theory. This is why I've developed that course. You got to know some basic theory. You got to know what the tonal center is, okay? And once you know the tonal center, you can play the chords and the melodies and stuff like that. At first, it'll be wonky. You'll be awkward at first, but then eventually, you'll get better and better at it, okay? Okay, Tyler saying, Eric, I've watched a lot of your videos. You're an amazing guitarist. What was the hardest thing you've ever learned to play, or your biggest accomplishment? Thank you so much, Tyler. That's really kind of you. So, okay, I'd say the hardest, man, what's the hardest thing I've ever learned to play? I've learned a lot of things that were difficult to play. Boré, when I was, and this had to do with the circumstances, Boré, which is a classical piece that a lot of folks learn in the beginning. I didn't know how to read music. I mean, I knew how to read it, but like a 4-year-old would know how to read a book. That's how good I was at reading music. And that was very time-consuming, and I was learning all these techniques and stuff. So that was very difficult. That's the kind of thing that I try to prevent people from doing, because if you don't have the wherewithal, like me, if I didn't play guitar, I was going to die. So for me, it was fine, even though it probably took me 6 months to learn that tune, or several months. Because I knew that I wanted to play guitar. I knew. Most folks, they may not have that passion, quite that desire. They may feel like they do, but then when rubber meets the road and they come across something that's difficult, they put the guitar down thinking they suck. It's never that. It's always that you're just biting off more than you can chew. So, word to the wise there, don't bite off more than you can chew. Go in steps. But Never Going Back Again by Fleetwood Mac would probably be, fingerpicking wise, one of the more difficult things I've ever attempted. And but once you know it, you know it. But I remember doing it and thinking about all the bits and pieces. It uses a lot of Travis picking. Travis picking is like a piano player, where you've got the bass and the melody going on at the same time. Do two different things. It's like playing two different guitars at the same time. You got to keep up with a melody and a bass line. That was pretty difficult, you know. All right, hey Eric, I was wondering, how can you practice without a guitar if you don't have one in your hand? Well, so there's different things that you can do, like for instance, a capo, using a capo to strengthen your hand. I'll sit there sometimes and just, if I'm watching TV, usually I have a guitar in my hand if I'm watching TV, but if I'm in the car, I'll either have a grip master or some putty or a capo that I can sit there and work and strengthen my hand. So I like to do that. I wish that I had my jam stick here. Oh, here it is. So, like, I'm giving one of these away, by the way, on Sunday, June the 5th at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm giving one of these away. I think these are $400. It's basically a MIDI guitar, Bluetooth straight to your iPad or your guitar or your to your computer. Tracking is great on it. Anything that you can play on a keyboard, you can play on this thing. It's amazing. But anyhow, I'll be giving one of these away. And this is a great little practice bit too, because the strings are real action of a guitar. You can pick, you can feel it over here as you pick. Great little bit there, and you can travel with that anywhere, All right, so good questions, y'all. Good questions. Okay. What else? Eric was wondering. Okay, all right. Okay, heading over to YouTube, and I'm going to do this 8 more minutes, my friends, and we're going to end it. We're going to do it an even hour, okay? Okay, so I'm going to back up here just a little bit on YouTube. Great lessons, thanks a bunch. Can you talk briefly about mixing major and minor pentatonic over the 1-4-5? Okay, that's a really great question. So now this is really a paradox. When you're playing the blues, you're playing all major chords. 1 major, 4 major, 5 major. Okay, or in this case, A major, or 7th chord, which is a major, D7, E7, all major chords, but we're playing this minor scale over it. The pentatonic and the blues scale, the way I play it, the way most people play it, is minor, because from here to here is a minor interval instead of major. That's major, that's minor. So it shouldn't work, but it does, and that's why blues has the sound that it has. But you can also play major. Okay, so in the case of, if I'm playing like a, so now that's what major blues sounds like. I don't love that sound. That is what it is. But so I take the scale and I bump it down. So instead of my first finger being here, my pinky is here, and I play the same form. And that's how to play the major version of blues. But I like this sound better. Okay, good questions. Good questions. So you could do that. So if I'm playing blues, I might just bump back here. I wanted to change it up a little. You rarely will see me do that because I love the minor sound. I just love that. It's just part of my soul. But if you wanted to, you just bump down and you can mix that up. It's going to the noodle notes are going to be different. So there's different notes that you're going to be resting on. Okay, so like this 1-4-5 that we talked about here, it's going to be different. Okay, but nonetheless, you can do it. R. Gordon missed a lot. Hey man, this will be recorded, so just come back and watch it. Okay, cool. I'm a bit confused between major and minor. What's the difference? Oh, so the difference between major and minor, you can easily look at it. We won't go into the theory behind it because it's just going to take too long. We don't have enough time. But basically, major is a happy sound. Sounds like this. Whereas minor sounds like this. Okay, that's the sound that you're hearing, so you're probably used to hearing both of those sounds. But technically what's happening is the scale is different. And basically it's the major scale, but starting on the 6th scale degree. And now the 6 becomes the center. It becomes the 1, and it moves over, and the whole scale changes. I go over that in my program. I know that may be a little bit over some people's heads, but and it also affects the chords differently. So instead of major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, it's going to start at the 6th scale degree, which is minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but still the same. It just has a different tonal center. Okay. Thinking of swapping my Marshall JCM for a Fender Deluxe amp. My Marshall is great, but just too big. What's your thoughts? That's why I got rid of all my 412s. I've got a 412 in there that's stereo. It's a Behringer. I can't get rid of that thing. My gosh. It's like trying to sell sand to an Arab or ice to an Eskimo. I can't get rid of it. Anybody want a 412 Behringer stereo amp? Or stereo cabinet? Come to Nashville. I'll sell it to you cheap. I think I'm selling it for like $250. So, but I ain't shipping it because it'll cost so much to ship. How do you get out of the analysis paralysis when wanting to learn a song? Andrew, don't get out of analysis when you're trying to learn a song. You know, if you're writing a song, that's one thing. If you're learning a song, hopefully you're analyzing it and you're using as much theory as possible, because that's going to help you learn that song quicker using patterns and music theory and that sort of thing. So I would not do that. If you're writing a song, I would say just try to forget everything. I went through this in college because I was analyzing everything. and then I was just like, ah, stop, and somehow changed it. So I would say just don't think about that. Try to you can tune your guitar differently, use different tunings and that sort of thing. This way the same riffs and chords aren't going to be in the same place every time. You're going to have to think more. It's going to be frustrating now. But still, I'm looking for a logical system for chords from easy to complex chord extensions. Do you have any advice? Greetings from Germany. Andy, yes, I cover chords extensively. I bet you I've got 100 videos on chords that are within my program, and I start very simply, teach you the basics of it. We talk about jazz theory, we talk about chord embellishments, we talk about memorizing, just the whole 9 yards, when you would use certain chords at certain times. That's where I would go. I specifically, there's a lot of thought behind my system that I created. So I'm looking for a good quality under $1,000 guitar. Any recommendations? Epiphone Masterbuilt. BILT. It's the best. I love it. What pedals am I using? Let's go over this real quick. So I'm using the gig rig here, which is basically a looping system where all these pedals can be on, but then they're looped in here, and then I can bring one in at a time, as opposed to, I've got I don't know how many pedals here, 11 or so, and instead of having them all in line, in series, I can bring in one at a time through this guy. It also has preamps and that sort of thing built into it. But that's the brain behind it. It's expensive. It's like $1,200. This guy's out of the chain. That's my wah. I've got my 3 distortions here. My OCD, which is like a rock sound. You know. This guy right here, which is my tube screamer, which is more for like for that kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan sound, and then this would be more like a Eddie Van Halen sound, my Sovereign. Doesn't sound very good with a Strat. I got my polytune, so I can tune all my notes at the same time. So if I strum the guitar, I can look at, if I'm on stage or what have you, I can tune all my notes. So you can see those little red underneath the first 3 there. That means that they're slightly flat. So I can tune it up without having to look at everything else. Or I can do one note at a time, too. That's a great little unit there. My super delay is made by Empress, and it's just a delay unit. I've got a ditto at the front and a ditto at the back so that I can feed, so I can play a riff and then come down here and adjust my pedals accordingly. That's at the front, and then I got one at the back to be like a regular looping pedal. Hall of Fame reverb, fat boost for my solos. I just kind of hit that right there, and then it slightly boosts my sound up. My spark is also, I guess, part of my overdrive. Just a little bit of grit. Volume pedal. Expression pedal for my M5, which is a line 6. It's an all-in-one. I call it my Swiss Army knife. I think it's got like 125 effects built into it, 125-ish, and it can pull only one up at a time. So that's what I got going on the board today. Not much that's probably going to change for a while because I got everything that I need there. I love it. You know what I mean? PB acoustic guitar for like $100. Someone's saying. I've owned a lot of PB stuff. When you play the F form A chord, then slide up the neck, you're changing what form of the pentatonic? When you play the F form A chord, then slide up the neck, you are just changing what form of the pentatonic. I don't understand that question, Kyle. I'm sorry. SRV of Jimmy, play us some blues for the outro. Okay, I sure will. What are your thoughts of the modified Surf Strat? Don't know anything about it. How do you make a Strat sound thicker? I went over that. I was offered a Kono Electric. My experience. Any experience with them? No experience. Okay, that's it for Facebook. I will do some blues on the way out, and then I'm going to check one more time here on Facebook and make sure there's nothing there that I should look at. What should be the proportions of music versus voice when recording live? What should be the proportions of music versus voice when recording live? I'm sorry, Rahana, I do not understand that question. I don't understand what that means. Sorry. Hey Eric, good as always. I know you like to promote other guitar players. A question came up the other day with a guy I practiced, jumping from teacher to teacher, good or bad. I told him I used to until I found you. What do you think? Roy, this is what I think. Whoever you're getting information from, go to that person. If that's one guitar teacher, fantastic. Then you don't have to do a bunch of jumping around. Hopefully I can be that guy for you. I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and I feel like I'm pretty good at that. But I'm sure some people probably think I suck, and that's fine too. But nonetheless, if you can do it from one person, that's great. If it takes several people, then do that too. But if you can do one, that's even better. You don't have to jump around a bunch, you know. All right, thanks for the session. You're so welcome. I have this problem with the bar chords. When I put my index finger, the strings are clear. Okay, I won't cover the bar chords thing, Mohammed, because this Sunday, 3 p.m., my friends, remember, 3 p.m., this Sunday, June the 5th, I'll be doing a live broadcast on bar chords. I'll be teaching you how to play them. I'm going to go into all the individual itsy-bitsy pieces, even if you can't play a bar chord. I mean, trust me, I've worked with hundreds of people that can't play bar chords, and then they get to playing bar chords. I know all the tips and tricks that it takes to do this, and then we're also going to know 96 new chords when we leave. If you go to YourGuitarSage.com/live, sign up. We'll be doing an announcement here shortly. I've got a free PDF for you to download that's going to help for the broadcast on Sunday, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, so check this out. As always, YourGuitarSage.com/30 is my course where I've got all the free stuff. So go there, have some fun with that, and yeah, there you go. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining me on this. I really appreciate it. I'm glad everything went fairly smoothly. I don't think there were too many flub-ups or anything with anything, but super cool. Remember, on Sunday, I'm giving all this stuff away: the Ortega guitar, the jam stick, the lifetime membership. I'll be giving away jam packs of strings, capos, tuners, Dragon's Heart